Hi guys, so a few weeks back, my friend and I were playing a Christmas cards game, and it was actually super fun. Yeah, but it's like quite strategic as well. So I'll be walking you through how to play this game, and I'll be showing you the code in making it as well. Yeah, so here are the rules. So first of all, there are two players, and there are four cards each. So for each of the cards, right, you can imagine, let's just say I draw out this card over here. So one side, right, you'll be red in color, and if you flip this around, the card will be, sorry, the card over here, you'll be green in color, okay? So if you flip this green side, you'll go back to the red side, yeah. Okay, so you can imagine four cards, okay? Four cards. One, two, three. Sorry, my drawing's quite bad for the four cards. And each of them, right, you start by having a random color. Let's just say it's like red, green, green. Yeah. So I just randomly assign the colors. Yeah. So one player's goal. So let's just say Player one's goal is to make the cards all green, while player two's goal is to make the cards all red. But it can also be the case where player one's goal is to make the cards all red, but player two's goal is to make the cards all green. Yeah. So uh, how we determine the colors is you let player one choose which color he or she wants first. If player one selects red, then player two by default selects green, and like vice versa. Yeah. So the two players will take turns to flip any of the four cards. So any of the four cards, you'll take turns. They'll take turns. But the twist, right, is that if one card is flipped, let's just say if card 3 is flipped, let me just demonstrate this to you. So if card 3 is flipped, right, so card 1 still remains as red, and card 3 is flipped to the red side. So from green, now it becomes red. So right now, the adjacent two cards, which is card 2, this card right here, and this card right here, it'll be flipped to the other side. So this will be a green card. This will be green. And this card over here, card 4, it'll be red in color. Yeah, so when one card is flipped, right, when one card is flipped, the two adjacent cards will be flipped as well. But I also accounted for the edge cases as well. The edge cases refer to this right here. So let's just say I have the same arrangement of colors: red, red, green, green. Sorry, green, green. Wait, let me just erase this so it's less confusing. Red, red, green, green, right? Let's just say if this card over here is flipped. So if this card over here is flipped, right, here are the respective colors now. So card 4 is flipped, right? So the one adjacent to it, which is card 3, will also be flipped. So okay, card 4 is flipped, card 3 is flipped, and yeah, but then the thing is that there's no other card like to the right of card 4, so card 1 over here will be flipped instead, so this will become green in color, and card 2 still remains red because like nothing is changed, right? Yeah. So going by this rule, okay, the goal of each player, oh wait, I think I explained what the goal of each player is, but yeah, okay, so here are the rules. So the first person who manages to get all cards flipped to their desired color will win the game. Like for example, if player one chooses red from the start, he or she must flip all the cards to red. And if like player one chooses green, then he or she must flip all the cards to green. So going by this flow of the game, right, it was first player one's turn, and then next is player two's turn. So the winning move here is for player two to flip this red card over here to make it into a green card. So let me just draw the 4 cards again. So if player 2 flips this card over here, card 4, so this will be green, and the two which are adjacent is card 3, and because there's no card to the right of card 4, so card 1 will be flipped instead. So this will be green, and this will be green. This will be green as well. This is green because there's no change. So going by this logic, we can conclude that player 2 wins. Yeah. So here's the rules of the game. Yeah, and actually this game, it did not limit to just 4 cards. Even if you have like 5, 10, or maybe even like 10,000 cards, which is like gonna be very tedious, of course. The same rules will still apply, and the edge cases, the first card and the last card, when it gets flipped to the one beside it, and the one like if it's the last card, right, the first card will be flipped, and if it's the first card, the last card will be flipped. Yeah. Okay, so here's the rules of the game lah. So I'm going to show you the code which I've created. But oh yeah, before I talk about that, right? Let's just say there are like only 2 cards, right? Of course you cannot make it both red or like both green. Both are not allowed, of course, because this means that by default one player will win. So the only possible arrangements are red green or green red. Let's just call it red green. Yeah. I'll show you why this is impossible. Let's just say player 1 starts and player 1 is red, so he will have to flip this card, right? So if he flips this, then this will become red and this will become green. So it's player 2's turn now, right? He's supposed to flip all the cards to green. So yeah, he's supposed to flip all the cards to green, so he's supposed to flip this card, and this means that the second card will now become green and the first card will become red. So this means that there's no possible way for the 2 cards, like no matter how you flip, to be the same color, because if one card gets flipped, right, the other card by default also gets flipped, because the rule states that the adjacent card gets flipped, right? Yeah, so 2 or less, that's impossible. So the minimum number of cards for all these rules to apply over here is only 3. Yeah. So I'm just going to show you the code which I've created. Yeah. Okay, I coded all of this in Java, and later on I'll attach like the link in my YouTube description. Yeah. So okay, so here's a class. I just named it Christmas. Yeah. So what I did was that I import the scanner class into my code. And the purpose of the scanner class, right, is that the scanner class, right, is that it allows the user to type in stuff into like the terminal or like the command line. Yeah, it's for the user to input his or her stuff. It's similar to like Python's input function. Yeah. So okay, all of this is quite default, yeah, and I'll just like start off by explaining the main method. Okay, so I created a new scanner object, and I define like the cards, right, of can be 4, it can be 5, or any amount, right, to be an array, and in this case it is a boolean array. So what I did was that I let true be a green card and I let false be a red card. So as I mentioned earlier, players can flip any card, and one more thing, there's a possibility where one player helps the other player win by accident. Like let's just say if player two's color is red, but if player 2 somehow if player 2 somehow like cock up and flip all the cards to become green, then he lets player 1 wins because player 1 is assigned green cards. Yeah, so what I did was that I called the get winner function. So if you trace this all the way back up here, get winner. So what I did was that I first determined the number of elements in an array. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, if there are only 2 cards, that means if length is 2 or less, right, then I will like return something, because like it's impossible to tell who wins. There's no like possible way that either player can win. Yeah, but if not, right, we'll start the game like per usual. So this count, right, refers to the current turn. Like if the game ends in 3 turns, right, then count will be 3. Yeah, so so one count is 1 turn. Yeah, so what I did, right, was that I first let the player 1 choose his or her color. So if you go up here, I created this function for player 1 to choose a color. So yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory, and yeah, but the thing is that player 1 has to enter a valid input. Like if let's just say player 1 does not enter green like with a capital G or with a small g, or does not enter red either with a capital R or a small r, the code will like keep on looping until player 1 enters a valid color, which is either green or red. So what I did, right, was that if player 1 actually enters a valid color, then this will return color dot equals green or green, which means that if this is evaluated to true, then this entire function will return true. But if this is false, which means that if player 1 enters red, then this entire function returns false. So green is associated with true and red is associated with false. Yeah, so I define this as a boolean variable. So this p1 color is either true, which is green, or false, which is red. And I also determine whether like initially, right, all of the cards here are the same. So same meaning this entire array here, right, if let's just say it's not false, false, true, true, but if it's like, sorry, let me edit this a little bit. So if it's, for example, false, 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 and this becomes false, then sorry, just give me a second. Then this over here returns true because all of them have the same value, which is false. Or if this is true, 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 then this function here returns true because all of them have the same value, which is true. Yeah, so let me just change this back first. So true and true. Yeah. Okay, so okay, so yeah. So if let's just say like okay, they're all different. Like there's a mixture of false and truths in the array. So it will enter this while loop over here. So while they are not the same, right? So I first get the current player. I first get the current player, which is either player 1 or player 2. So if it's turn 1, for example, right, get current player actually returns player 1. Let me just show you. So this statement actually calls this function over here, which is this get current player. Yeah, so it returns count modulo 2 not equals to 0. That means if it's an odd number, if the turn is an odd number, for example turn 1, turn 3, turn 5, that means it is player 1's turn. Or if let's just say it's like turn 2, turn 4, turn 6, turn 8, turn 10, then this means that it is player 2's turn. Yeah, so actually you can allow this in a ternary operator, yeah, which is this. Yeah, so what I did was that I get the current player, then I print out the current player plus prompting the person to select a card that he or she would like to flip. So this is actually the input which the player will type. Like the only valid numbers which the player can type 1, 2, 3, or 4, because in this case, right, there are only 4 elements in the array. Yeah, so okay. Yeah, and then I also like also -1 to this index variable, because all indexes starts with 0, and it'll be like simpler to like determine like the two edges, the most extreme left and most extreme right, and like the rest of the cards. So these are the edge cases. So if let's just say the person keys in 1, so this means that now index becomes 0. So the player like intends to flip the extreme left card. So of course itself gets flipped, like the extreme left card itself gets flipped, and the one to the right of it, which is the second card, also gets flipped. And last but not least, the card which is on the extreme right gets flipped as well. Yeah, so if the player intends to flip the card which is on the extreme right, like if the guy enters 4, if the guy enters 4 over here, then index will now become 3. And so if 3, right, which means itself gets flipped, and the third card, which is the third card, also gets flipped, and the card on the extreme left gets flipped as well. Yeah, but if in all other cases, right, which means all other cases refer to the cards in between, like the one on the extreme left and the one on the extreme right. Yeah, so itself gets flipped. The one adjacent to it, which is to the left of it, gets flipped, and the one to the right of it gets flipped as well. Yeah. So what if the user actually keys in something which is out of bounds? If it's out of bounds, right, you go back to the while loop again, and you'll prompt the user to enter a valid input. Yeah. So this will not increment count, but I incremented count for these 3 cases. The one where the user intends to flip the extreme left card, the extreme right card, all those in between. Yeah, because only when the user keys in a valid number will the turn continues. If not, the turn cannot continue. So at the end of all of this, right, I will check if the cards flipped are all the same. So if it's the same, right, this while loop this while loop will be exited because the condition for it to continue is not all of them are the same. For example, true, 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 false, true, false, or like false, true, true, true. But if it's like true, 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 or false, 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 then this while loop will not continue, right? Yeah. So if it's exited and like all of them are the same, that means there must of course be a winner, right? Yeah. So what I did right was that I created yet another helper function called print winner. So this this is actually the color which player 1 chose at the start. So let me direct you back to this, which is over here, and the other color is the first element of like the boolean array. So it can either be true, 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 or false, 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 false. So if let's just say like player 1's color, if like let's just say for example he chooses true, and this and all the elements of the array, which also includes the first one, contains the true, right? Then this function will be created. So if let's just say true and true are the same, right, then it prints player 1 wins. But if let's just say the player 1 chooses red but everything else is like true, 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 then instead player 2 wins. Yeah. So there has to be if player 1's color matches those of the boolean array, then it prints out player 1 wins, because player 1 manages to like flip all the colors to his or her desired color. Either that or player 2 helped player 1 win by flipping it to player 1's desired color. If it's not the case, right, then it prints player 2 wins. Yeah, so that's pretty much how the game works, and I can demo once in VS Code. Yeah, so okay, so this is actually the same code over here. So if I press play, if I run code, okay, so player 1 pick your color, let's just say red, and it prompts the user to select a card that he likes to flip. So let's just say I enter some random number. Sorry, let me just do it again. Red. Yeah, if he enters a random number, then it continues prompting the user, so he has to of course select a valid input. Let's just say 3, okay, and now player 1's turn is over and it's player 2's turn. So okay, initially it was false, false, true, true. This was even before the game started. Then when player 1 flipped the third card, so this gets changed, so now it becomes false, true, false, 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 true, false, false. So now player 2, okay, so let me just write false, true, false, false. So now it is player 2's turn, okay? So let's just say player 2 would like to flip the last card, which is this. So I typed in 4 and it says player 2 wins. Do you know why? Because this gets flipped, right? So now this card over here, it will affect the card which is directly to the left of it, which is this, and the one which is on the extreme left, which is this. So now it becomes true, 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 and true. Yeah, so this is the implementation of the game. Yeah, and let's just say if I don't have these two elements over here, it's just false, false, and if I run it again, it says impossible to tell because the cards will keep on flipping and there's no way to determine who's the winner or the loser. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it for the game. It's quite simple, but I managed to pull it off. So yeah, I guess, yeah. But anyway, thanks for watching and bye.